What is going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Hey, welcome back to White Whale Fishing. Coming to you guys today talking about tackle. And it's a beautiful day here in central Indiana. The weather, it's like 55, high 50s, low 60s. The last of the ice is probably getting off the lakes and ponds today, and it's time to start getting ready to go fishing. I can't fish today because my wife Lisa, she's not doing so well. She's feeling pretty sick. She'll be okay, but Dad's got kids to take care of, so I'm stuck here at home, but that's all right. At least I've got an opportunity to play with my toys and put out some hopefully great content for you guys. So today we're talking about finesse gear, and I don't ever go fishing without a spinning rod. And I really wanted to show you kind of my setup and some of the baits that I take along with me. I'm actually going to let you into my actual tackle box. It'll be on the pond or be in the kayak with me. But first we're going to talk about the gear. So this is one of my spinning setups. This is a 2500 size reel packed with 10-pound braid to an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. This is a 7-foot medium fast action rod. I use this rod and this reel for all of my single hook baits, drop shot, shaky head, finesse jig, tube, all of those types of things. And yeah, it never leaves home without me. I never leave home without it. One day I'll learn how to talk. You guys recently saw this exact rod fishing a local pond, some cold water with a morning dawn drop shot and catching a nice, I don't know, 2 to 3 pound fish. So yeah, this guy's got it done for me. And when I'm out on the kayak, I'll definitely have 2 spinning rods with me. If I'm just pond hopping, I generally just take one. I really like the braid to fluorocarbon or braid to monofilament leader, depending on what kind of baits I'm fishing. If I'm fishing slow, bottom moving baits, I'm definitely going to be fishing fluorocarbon. If I'm fishing top water style baits or moving baits, I might be fishing monofilament for that little bit of extra stretch. As far as my setup from my braid to leader material, I generally tie a 9-loop blood knot or an Alberto knot. I'm working on, what's that super complicated knot, the FG knot. Anyway, I'm working on practicing that because it does have the smallest diameter and it goes through the guides the easiest. But that's a glimpse at the gear that I'll be using. Now we're going to start talking about the tackle. You guys can see I like to throw a drop shot. I do have some other drop shot baits with me. These are also robo worms. This is more of a shad style profile, right? I think there's going to be a time and a place for that. I haven't found out what that time and place is just yet, but it's coming. As far as my weights go for my drop shots, I typically like to throw a cylindrical style drop shot. I feel like it comes through the grass and the vegetation a little bit better. And if I can find tungsten, I will. I was able to pick up some tungsten drop shot weights at the Noblesville Fishing Expo. As far as hooks go, I try to keep it pretty simple, you know, like a size 1 or a size 2 octopus hook, or, you know, an owner hook. Any of those drop shot hooks work really well. If I'm going to be flipping into grass and stuff, I'll probably upsize to a Nico style hook. That way I can rig weedless. That's also a possibility. Baits that I really like for drop shots, Beast Coast has some... Beast Coast makes some great shad style profiles. What's worked the best for me, and I don't think I actually have any more, but Strike King, they make two general drop shot type baits. One's called a Dream Shot, the other one's called a half shell. The half shell is what I really started off with. But I'm starting to branch out into bigger worm shaped baits instead of smaller shad style baits. I think the colder the water, the smaller the bait, those types of situations. The next bait I'm going to really talk to you guys about is the, and I think everybody out there is familiar with rig. I've got lots of different types of colors and brands, Robo Worm and this, and you know, the Z-Man stuff. But what I really want to talk to you guys about, and I think a lot of people fish this, is the shape of your head, right? You can see that this guy's got a flat head and this guy's got a round head. I recently saw a video, I think it was on David Dudley's page, about what these heads do underwater with high float baits, right? Everybody that's throwing a Ned rig wants a bait that floats because you want your bait to stand up like this. So they casted out a flat-sided jig head with a high float bait on it, and you can see that the high float bait starts to bring it up, but it stops right around here. And the reason it does that is because the flat side, right, and it makes like a 90-degree angle right here, and that angle prevents the bait from being able to float it up. Where your curved style heads, they don't have that angle, so that high float bait just stands it straight up. So for all you Ned rig guys, if you're throwing flat topped jig heads, something to look into for sure. A tube. I'm talking about largemouth bass fishing, and I'm breaking out a tube. I've never caught a bass on a tube in my life, but I want to change that. I think a tube's pretty versatile, right? It can be fished on an open jig head like this, or it can be Texas rigged with a bullet weight and a worm hook. But ultimately, I don't think a lot of largemouths see a lot of tubes, and throwing something at them that they've never seen before, in my opinion, is always a good idea. I've got a couple different brands here that I've gotten through subscription boxes. I've got Big Bite Baits and Strike King and Cruncher Baits. So I'll definitely be putting a tube to work this year. But, you know, I think, not to mention, I also fish some smallmouth waters. I've got some local streams and rivers here. That's something that I want to do this year. And I do go up to Michigan a couple times a year and fish Lake Pawpaw up there. So a tube will definitely be in this box at all times, as long as we're talking about cold water. Maybe not even cold water. Tube's one of those baits you can work it real slow, right? You can drag it, or you can stroke it and hop it and kind of work it a little bit aggressively. The finesse jig. And Isaac, I'm sorry, man. I am kicking myself in for not picking up any of your finesse jigs at the dang show. I'm such an idiot, but I'm going to be placing an online order here soon. Some baits, one jig that's gotten it done for me in the past has been the Missile Baits Ike's Mini Flip. And it's a really, really small, compact jig. This is the Bitsy Bug, and this is the Ike's Mini Flip. You can see it's not very much bigger than that. But I like it because it's got a little bit heavier of a weight. This is either a 1/4 ounce. I think this is a 1/4 ounce. May even be like a 3/8 or a 5/16, something like that. But you're going to get into a scenario where you only got a spinning rod with you, and you should probably have a jig with you, because jigs can produce bigger bites. A jig is something that I'll plan on having it tied on this entire year, whether it's on a spinning rod or a bait caster. But this time of year, you know, like I've got this rigged with a sweet beaver on here. This time of year in cold water, you know, the common consensus is don't throw something with a lot of action. So that's why I've got it paired up with a little beaver. And that's really it. Today we're kind of talking about the finesse side of things. I've got some other finesse baits in here. Like I've got shaky head worm weights with me, and I've got EWG style baits with me, because something that is extremely important this year or all year round is a stick bait. Monsters are caught on this in the winter. Monsters are caught on this in the summer. So if I've got my finesse box with me, you can bet I've got, you know, a pack of stick baits in my backpack as well. Some other things that I'm going to be giving a shot this year, some kind of out of the box baits. This is I can't even remember. I picked this up at the Indiana Expo, but it looks like a Ned bait, but it's really not. It's hollow inside, and as you jig it and hop it back to the boat, bubbles come out of here. So I'm thinking this might be a great bed bait. And then obviously I've also got some Moccasin Lures bed heads in the box with me as well. So there's a look at the baits that I've got in my box that I'll be using for the finesse side of things as soon as we're able to get out and fish some of that cold water. I know a lot of you are in the same boat that I am, unable to fish, hard water. David in Pennsylvania, upstate angler. I'm sorry guys, your time's coming. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something. If not, at least you got a glimpse at what works for me in my area. If there's something that I didn't cover and you think I should know about it, drop me a comment. Let's start talking about it. But thanks for watching. Hopefully we get on the water soon. Tight lines.